Hey everyone, happy Saturday, happy college football. This is Porcelain Picks. I'm your host, Andrew Fabian. I'm going to be bringing the Week 2 action to you today. We've got a full slate ahead of us. Here at Porcelain Picks, we are committed to giving you some scrolling material while you're atop the porcelain throne. So let's get started. Colorado, Coach Prime, big noon kickoff hosting Nebraska. Colorado coming off a big victory at TCU. Are they for real? Is Coach Prime for real? They certainly have the talent to put up some points. Can their defense stop anybody? Matt Rule and Nebraska coming into town. Nebraska, lull to sleep type Big Ten West matchup last week, going up to Minnesota and getting the boat rode on them by PJ Fleck. They lost 13-10 in that matchup. Can Nebraska come in and put up some points on Colorado? Can they keep up with this offense? So Colorado right now is a 2.5-point favorite. At Porcelain Picks, just right off the bat, we like this spread for Colorado. This started at Nebraska, was an 8.5-point favorite to open this game, but with what happened last week, the money's been pouring in on Colorado, but as it should be, we feel. All right, so we think Travis Hunter, he's legit. Last week, he played 120 plays, which was the tops in all of college football over the past few years. This guy's a two-way player. He can do it all. I think he's going to do it all again today and come up with another big interception when it matters. On the Nebraska side, you have Jeff Sims. He's going to get involved in the running game today at the quarterback position. He threw a couple costly picks last week against Minnesota. I see him throwing another interception today when it matters. Nebraska is going to try to slow the pace of this game. They're going to try to run the ball, keep Colorado's offense off the field. I think they will be able to move the ball. This game has a chance to go under the total as well, but here we're going to pick Colorado. This home crowd's going to be raucous. We saw their spring game set a record. Their spring game had about 70,000 people there. I think Coach Prime's going to bring the heat today. I see Colorado winning this game by about 10 points, so take Colorado minus 2.5. All right, let's jump on now to Notre Dame, traveling to NC State. So finally, the Irish are tested after they play Navy and then a nobody the next week. So Notre Dame coming in with some confidence, but they do face a better defense at NC State today. Notre Dame right now is a 7-point favorite headed to NC State. Over-under in this game was about 50.5 at the time of this recording. This may continue to drop, so it's a 50.5 point over-under right now. Sam Hartman, the note here that I'll mention, Sam Hartman was Wake Forest quarterback, so he has some history against NC State. Sam Hartman struggled against NC State in the past when it comes to passing. NC State has a good defense. They tend to disrupt people with their 3-3-5 format. Let's see if they can do that to ND today. The weather is also going to play a factor in this game, okay? So there were reported thunderstorms that were going to be coming through. It's not too much of an issue today, but we will see some rain. We will see some thunder. And also for NC State's benefit is Notre Dame potentially looking forward to that big primetime matchup with Ohio State next week. All these things can be factors. So here at Porcelain Picks, we see this at a 28-20 type Notre Dame victory. It's going to be a little bit slow out of the gate, and I think that Notre Dame ultimately will win this game by over the 7-point spread. I do like the under. If it stays at 49.5 or above that by game time, take the under. We're going to call that Notre Dame -7, lock it, flush it. And then the over-under, we're going under 50.5 at the time of this recording. Play that to 49.5. We think it'll be under that total too. So those are your two for this game. All right, let's shift over to Utah, going to Baylor. So Utah coming off the big victory without their starting quarterback, Cam Rising. They easily dismantled the Florida Gators. That didn't end up being a matchup in the second half. Baylor coming off the really embarrassing defeat and really head scratcher against Texas State. Texas State is led by TJ Finley. If any of you remember that name, he is a good quarterback, so he was able to put up some points on Baylor's defense. They were not prepared for that. They lost that game they let up about 40-some points and scored about 31 points. So that wasn't even a battle. Let's see. I think Baylor's going to come back in a little bit more prepared to this matchup. Utah also will probably be playing without Cam Rising again today, but again, Utah is a complete team. I do like the Utes. The spread right now is either -7 or -7.5, depending on where you look. That might be a little bit tall going to Baylor. Baylor coming off the embarrassing defeat. I do think they're going to be playing a little bit better today. But the pick in this game right now is the under. Okay, so over-under is set at 47 at the time of this recording. We are going to lock in that under 47. Take it, lock it, flush it. All right, let's travel to another big game of this day that had a little bit more pregame hype than it has right now, but Texas A&M against Miami, Florida. All right, Texas A&M coming off an easy win against an easy matchup in week 1. Their wide receiver, Evan Stewart, is the player who excites me most on this offense. If you remember back 2 years ago, Texas A&M's recruiting class set a record with that recruiting class. So some of those players who decided to stick around are now coming of age. It was an embarrassing season for Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher last year. I do think they're going to show up and show up in a big way here at Miami, Florida. Miami did not impress me when they hosted Miami, Ohio. They were able to run the ball. They kept the ball out of their quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke's hands. Miami's 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games as well. This is going to be a hot game. It's going to be hot at Miami, Florida. We're going to see the running games attempting to get going at the start. Miami's going to try to pound the ball again, keep it out of Van Dyke's hands, but ultimately I think Texas A&M just has too much firepower today, and they're going to beat the Hurricanes in Miami. So take Texas A&M -3, lock it, flush it. All right. Another matchup here, the big game of the day before we jump over to, actually, you know what, let's start with Maction. Let's start with the Maction locks of the day, all right? So these picks are courtesy to you by my boy Joey Mack. He's going to be picking 2 games. Courtesy of Joe, we've got Arkansas. The Razorbacks are going to be dismantling Kent State today. So we are going to be fading Kent State pretty much this whole season. Kent State lost a lot of pieces to the transfer portal. We all know that from Joey Mack's analysis a couple weeks ago. So Arkansas right now is a 37.5-point favorite. We feel they'll win by more than 40 against Kent State. Arkansas is going to come out and just run the ball, ram it down their throat. They have big boys. They're not going to be stopped. All right, so Arkansas -37.5 at home against Kent State. Lock it up. All right. The second Maction pick of the week. All right, so we have Ohio going to Florida Atlantic. Ohio and Florida Atlantic had a big shootout last year. It was a 41-38 Ohio victory. That was really a fun game to watch for those of you who watched that matchup. This game's going to be more of the same. All right, so Ohio can put up some points. Florida Atlantic can put up some points. The big note here that we'll say is the NFL prospect Curtis O'Rourke, Ohio's quarterback. He got injured in week 0 in that matchup with San Diego State. He's going to be back and playing. He's going to put up some points and have something to prove today. So take Ohio. Right now they're plus 3.5 against Florida Atlantic. So lock it, flush it. Those are your Mac locks of the day. All right. So the big matchup today, we've got Texas playing in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. So we know that tight game last year where Texas just disintegrated at the end, wasn't able to pull off the upset against Alabama. We know Jalen Monroe from week 1 against Middle Tennessee State. He was able to get going for Alabama. They come in as a 7-point favorite right now. Alabama, as always, has a stable of running backs. They're going to come in. They're going to compete. They're going to move the football. Texas has a really stout run defense. So we're matching up really well in this game. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. The thing that I'll note here is that Texas got going with Quinn Ewers at quarterback. This guy's got more confidence this year. He's got a heavy stable of wide receivers led by Xavier Worthy. I feel Alabama's secondary has some concerns headed into this week against Texas. So I do like Texas to come out throwing the football. Alabama's going to try to control the line of scrimmage. Texas will hang in there on the defensive line. I do see Alabama ending up winning this game again. They're going to have a raucous crowd. They're going to want to prove that last year was a fluke when Texas almost pulled off the major upset. But Texas is a much more complete team than they were a year ago. Quinn Ewers, much more established, much more confident. I do think Texas is going to keep this one within a touchdown. I see Alabama potentially winning this one 27-24. Another close type matchup where they're gonna edge it out in the coaching battle at the end. All right, so it's also the note of Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban. Will the former apprentice be able to beat the master? I don't think so, but they will keep it close for all of you. So take Texas +7. Some lines have it for +7.5. grab that line if you can. But Texas is going to keep it close today. Lock it, flush it. All right. So that's your slate of Porcelain Picks for the day. Thanks for sticking with us all season long. We are going to put out an accountability show tomorrow or Monday so that you know we're held accountable to you. Let's lock it up. Let's have a Saturday. Porcelain Picks, flush it. Thank you.